Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. We are live and we are worldwide with 30,000 radio waves that won't behave. Now, if I can just find my way to the exit. There we go. Well, okay, everybody. Let me unbutton. There you go. So this is LVO Tour of the Fancy Action Now, and breaking news, Microsoft buys Bethesda for, I believe it was $7.4 billion. Well. That was something that was likely gonna happen. And mixed feelings, really. Mixed feelings. I think that the evolution of Bethesda was bound and determined to happen. Mainly because coffee with biscotti. Okay. Get up and get on up. All right. Bethesda has been trying to go public for a very long time so that they could get access to those investment dollars to make the development of their games less feast and famine, okay? And you know, one of those things I want you to remember is Bethesda does not always have 2 or 3 games kind of in the pipeline. You know, they have Elder Scrolls Online, okay? They had Fallout Shelter, which was did very well for them. And they had Fallout 76, which was an epic fail. So that was an effort to create ongoing streams of revenue while they develop their other bigger titles, which take years, right? They keep telling you, Elder Scrolls 6, it's down the road, it's 5 or 6 years in development cycle, right? 5 or 6 years in a development cycle where you're pouring money into an investment and not seeing a return is very difficult. You have to have alternative streams of revenue. You have to have other things that are feeding those projects while they make no money, right? So with Fallout 76, they had been trying, ZeniMax had been trying to go public to get into that revenue stream, and they followed the path of the devil, which is EA, with the whole Battlefront 2. And do you notice any analogs between recent EA business practices and relatively new practices with ZeniMax and Bethesda? I certainly saw that, and I knew that they had kind of made a deal with the devil to get the revenue stream going, because if you want to go public, you have to demonstrate certain things as a company so you don't put shareholders in a very bad position. Because people are throwing money at you. Sometimes it's their life savings. Sometimes it's a significant portion of their portfolio. There has to be a standard to be a public company. If you don't understand what it takes to become a public company, you really need something you need to look into. So companies that are public had to work to become a company of the size and of the frugalness. Like, you have to really cut costs and you have to maximize profit, and you have to be a company that's going to add value to the exchange. Otherwise, every mom and pop would be on the exchange getting money from people. That's what GoFundMe basically is. It's a grassroots stock exchange, How do the stocks work? You issue shares of the company, and when the company does well, they either issue you additional shares or they split the stock and you have double the shares you originally did. Some of them wind up paying a dividend. Only the strongest companies pay a dividend. So what they're saying is like, let's say you invest $1,000 into Microsoft, which pays a nice dividend. Because they're such a well-run, strong company, they can actually give some of the money they earn back to the shareholders, and most people just reinvest it. That's again, one of the best ways to invest is a DRIP, or a direct reimbursement investment plan, I believe it's called. Reinvestment plan, like a direct reinvestment plan. We actually go to the company and you buy the stock right from them. No broker, no service, nothing. You just send them money and they send you certificates, they send you shares. And what you say to them is, you can say either, I want you to pay my dividend out every month, or whenever they pay out the dividend. Different companies pay out different dividends at different cycles. Monthly, quarterly, twice a year, once a year. All companies do it individually. So you really have to be a strong, well-run company with a good amount of money on the books and nice amount of revenue streams coming in and all that stuff. And that's what you don't understand. That's what a lot of people do not understand about why Fallout 76 was such a blow. Such a blow. They deserved the blow, but it was such a blow to their company because that was supposed to generate all this incremental revenue and make them look better as a company so that they could go public, which would give them access to everybody that wants to invest into the company. That IPO, or initial public offering, that's when a company goes from just a company to a publicly traded company. Because then you have to have a board of directors, and it's not the owner of the company that's directly influencing things. It's now the board, and the board acts in the interest of the shareholders. So it's no longer the owner of the company. There still is an owner, but that owner gives up certain authorities to the board so the board can maximize shareholder value. Now, you're like, why are you teaching this remedial economics class today, Toro? Because you have to understand where Bethesda was at a company they were bound to be acquired. Because, and I didn't know what, I thought it might be Microsoft. I thought, because of where they were at, but I just had my own little private thoughts about it. ZeniMax was trying to go public when they launched Fallout 76. And that undermined their efforts to go public, because if they were able to go public, because they were either going to go public or they were going to get acquired. One of the two. I mean, that was what was the destiny of that of Bethesda and ZeniMax. So they tried to go public and failed. A lot of companies do. A lot of companies, just the circumstances. They should have tried to go back. They should have tried to go public back when they launched Skyrim. They had all the money coming in. They had all the merchandising and all that stuff. And unfortunately, they were at a period of time where they wanted to go public, where they had nothing else on the books ready to go out to market except Fallout 76 that was not ready to go to market. And in their haste, they released it in a unacceptable state. Because somebody there said, pull the trigger on it. We don't care. The fans will suck it up. Basically defrauding people. That's why they dropped the price so quick. What was it, 2-3 weeks? So they dropped it down to a sale price? Unheard of for a brand new release. They did that because they had to get it out there to as many people as possible to see if they could generate some revenue. And they played all kinds of games with that Atom Shop to see if they could generate revenue in desperation. Because they put themselves in a position where they undermined their own IPO. It's the quiet little murder of their initial public offering. It really is. They killed it themselves. They destroyed their own IPO through unethical business practices, and rightly so. So, I want you to think about it as a business perspective. Video games are the product. what has been their most recent product? Fallout 76. I mean, what else is out there? Okay, you could say Elder Scrolls Online. That's its own animal in a way. But Bethesda Studios, what video game have they come back with? Not an online, not an MMO, okay? Which is more than likely declining. MMOs just follow that spike, and then they, if they're decent, they release new DLCs, they get little bumps, but they quietly lower down as things grab people's attention. There's Fall Guys, and there's like Among Us, and there's all kinds of stuff that's going on where, people are distracted away. I mean, they play it for a certain amount of time, they get a certain amount of enjoyment out of it, but every MMO ever made just kind of, and they do things to kind of pop it up and keep that monthly revenue coming in. Eventually, people just cancel and go do something else, or go do the new hotness, or go take that money and go put it on a console, or put it on a new standalone game. Or it happens. You just you peak, and then you bleed subscribers until the end. You get as much market as you possibly can, and then it's just this inevitable decline and death. It happens to every one of them. And some of them are amazing, and some of them can continue on. They limp along with these devotees, and but it's never a growth vector. It's just kind of this, So, and people have lives too. MMOs suck up a lot of time, and a lot of times people play them like for a certain period of time, and then they just don't have the time to sit there for hours and play this fantasy world. So I always like MMOs. I always thought they were really cool, but I also thought they were like very unhealthy in a way, because it's like you just spend too much time on them, and it's just like it's not healthy to do that. It's just not healthy to be absorbed into that in the World of Warcraft. And like South Park highlighted that, where everybody's like fat and eating terrible food and sick and shitting in a bag and anyway. So Microsoft obtains Bethesda. So they will be able to infuse the cash to finish those games that are in the pipeline. Again, I want you to think about this in the comments. What else do they have going on? Bethesda is bleeding cash. Does anybody care about Fallout 76? Except for the diehard devotees. And they're trying to put out like, oh, is Fallout 76 finally good? Who gives a fuck? Because you had a chance to make it good a year ago and a year before that. It is a albatross. Let it die. Support it to the point where you feel that you have to have self-respect. But that is a dead game. Oh no, I still play it. I'm still on there. I'm still working with the devs. Okay, great. I'm not going to take it from you, baby. Not going to take it from you. But Microsoft coming in will apply the appropriate business practices, shake-up, reorganization that needs to be done. They will infuse capital to get the resources and the talent necessary to get these offerings up and running inside of 2 years. So these guys where they're like, well, it's 5 years off, it's 6 years off, it's however many years off. Bethesda didn't have that time. That's why they were acquired. So, they are in, Bethesda is in crisis mode. Nothing is ready. Nothing's ready to go to market. Their engine is ancient, and they're trying to clunk around with it to make it work for yet one more game. And it's just layers. And again, if you know anything about how they program and how they do, it's just layers upon layers of all their legacy games in this system. They've never gone in and overhauled that engine, and they need to. I mean, they're constantly like going back to previous versions of the engine to get things to work. And then, bringing it all back up, and some other element that they didn't address creates another bug. I mean, it's, again, I understand where they're at from a programming perspective, because they need to shut down for 2 years, and if you're going to keep that engine, or go get another engine, or go, I know they're like, oh, we don't want to do that. Well, dude, the world has moved on. I'm like the gunslinger, bro. The world has moved on. and you have not moved on with it. They are like the new Telltale. But their IPO, their original IPO, is worth something. See, that's the thing with Telltale, is Telltale had very little original IPO. They depended on licensing, which is very expensive. So it creates a great deal of upfront investment, and that's why they couldn't innovate more, because again, they were stuck with an old engine. We need money to innovate and take it in new directions, but we have to pay all these licensing monies, and our sales are declining. You know, they went through their hill, and then they were slipping into their valley, and their revenues were dropping, and they didn't know what to do, so they went back to the same old routine. Let's get another license, let's spend all this money, and let's put ourselves in hock to release a game to hopefully recapture that hill. And you have to innovate. You have to do new things. That's why you see old brands like Scott Tissue and ketchup, and, you know, like Heinz ketchup. New look. There's still the same ketchup as in the bottle. The bottle is still the same bottle, but they changed the color on the label a little bit, or they redid the label a little bit, and they put a big bang sticker on there that says new look. They do that because they have to. The mind, particularly of people who, I hate calling us consumers, but people who buy the products, they become fatigued and they want something new. And when you see something new, your brain gives you like a little dopamine release, like, oh, that's different. You're supposed to seek variety. Your brain is wired, and they know that, is to seek variety, right? So that's what killed Telltale. Telltale did not innovate. And now Bethesda is stuck in the same cul-de-sac, the same logical cul-de-sac. And Microsoft will come in there and they will clean house. They will reorganize. They will streamline the production. They will increase the speed to market of all of these software products, which is what they're good at. What they're good at. I told you, baby. Microsoft is not playing games. They kicked Bill Gates off the board and said, let's go be the #1 software developer platform on the planet, baby, on the planet. Let's go and own that shit. And they are going after it aggressively. That was an aggressive move. And $7.4 billion ain't nothing on them, baby. They just got all that IP, all the merchandising and Skyrim and all of that, man. You know, I mean, shit. Watch them launch another Skyrim remaster for the new systems. Watch. All they have to do is do a trilogy remaster. Oh my god, that'll sell like fucking hotcakes. Wouldn't it? If you got Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim on one disc, or, you know, whatever, just on one game in one, all remastered in 4K, holy fuck. And they can do it too. They can do it, baby. They'll do it. So I think this is a great move. I think it's a great move for Bethesda because they were running out of options and running out of money. Okay? Their IPO was dead in the water. Their IPO failed at the launch of Fallout 76. That's why the fuckery around that game was so intense. They didn't know what to do. They're like, oh my freaking god, we just killed our IPO. They did. They killed their IPO. No chance whatsoever. That game was hot garbage, and it wrecked any chance for them to be independent, any chance for them to go IPO and generate all of that investment capital so that they could go and be a monster. Again, if they did the right thing with Fallout 76, if they were able to actually execute that game appropriately, maybe wait a year and have it actually ready for prime time, they might have taken severe losses until that time. But they would still be in a position to generate revenue. The enthusiasm for the game would have been amazing. They would have been in a much different place. But they screwed the pooch on that thing, man. They wrecked themselves hard. And it's like, well, They undermined their own IPO. They will never achieve IPO. Now they've been acquired, so they're done. They're owned. So if they're going to dance to Microsoft's tune from now on, good luck. So they're going to come in there and clean fucking house, baby. Oh yeah, I know I would too. I think I got a feeling that they're a little top heavy with that Todd salary and his Italian shoes that he likes to wear on stage, baby. That are way bigger than his own feet. They're like freaking clown shoes, bro. But anyway, what a good move. What a good strategy for Bethesda. So, what are your thoughts on this one? This is a big one, baby. I've been trying to get on this computer making a video. I have other topics that I'm probably going to slap out real quick while I'm up here and I'm on and I'm shaved and I'm sober and, all those things. So, this was big news. This motivated me. I ran right into the bathroom and I got in the shower. I got into a fetal ball and I cried. Now, I did go in and I shaved my face so I could come and be presentable, because otherwise I look like a freaking castaway going, what year is it? Who's president now? And I was like, whatever. So this has been LVA Tour, Fancy Action Now. Some of the biggest news in gaming history, really, right here. So what do you think that they're going to come out with? What do you think is going to change with Bethesda? This is definitely going to move up the game development cycle for Bethesda. Anyway, and what was I gonna say? Is like what I was trying to think about was like I couldn't think about anything that was generating money for them right now. It's not Fallout 76. I mean, they're throwing patches at it all the time, but it's like that's still a dumpster fire. It's like they're throwing tires to smother the tire fire. It's nobody cares, and nobody cares. Fallout 76 is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I if that offends you, I apologize. It's irrelevant. It's been irrelevant for a year. But they keep hitting that nail because that's all they've got. That's all they've got. Elder Scrolls Online, which is actually handled by a third-party studio, so they're not making the same level of profit. They're getting incremental revenue, which is declining. They failed with Fallout 76, and they're just trying to fix it and create some interest in it, and that is failing. That has failed a long time ago. So all that is a money pit, and they have nothing ready to market at all. Nothing. They are boned. So somebody swooped in and bought their IP, and they're going to laugh all the way to the fucking bank, because they're going to make that $74 billion or $7.4 billion. I think it's $7.4 billion, which is numerically significant for a reason, but 7.4 million. They'll make that back in a couple of years. To be, yeah. Like I would say, when are they going to reach like break even on that investment? Take it all in total, I would say 3 years. 3 years in total. Believe me, and there's somebody there that's in charge of getting that investment dollars back. So if this doesn't convince you that Microsoft is all in this game, nothing else will. $7.4 billion to buy Bethesda, which is in terrible condition right now. But all the IP is there, the studios are there, all of the assets are there. And they can go in there, the Microsoft programmers that literally work on the military level can go in there and straighten that shit out. They just can't. So this is LVA Tour, Fancy Action Now for the gamer, baby!